When I first joined Uncaged, I was on the fence and very apprehensive about being a part of a men's accountability group or any type of group for that matter, just because the bad stuff out there. But the reality, I decided to join because of you, and I wanted to give it a feel. So we jumped on a call on one of the roundtable calls, and I just saw how well you guys were helping each other. And it wasn't a group for me, like my group and I'm telling everybody what to do. It was a group of men coming together. And at that point in my life, I was so done with humanity, and I was kind of recluse at the moment. So when we had this call, it was kind of like a light switch that there are good people out there. So I remember coming into the group, and Dr. Holly reached out to me after the call, and I mean, rest in peace, right? Good man. Um, and he said, you can't always you can't always predict or create what other like do what other I don't even know how to word this. Sorry, bro.
You're good.
You can't always have expectations of what other people are going to do, and they're going to do that, right? So you just do what you do and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing, saying, and just go do you. Whatever that is, whatever that version of you is, whatever you love, whatever you want to do. And if that is what makes you happy, that's all that matters. I had the hardest time finding out what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do because I had this expectation that I was supposed to have this fancy car and all this money rolling in and these big houses and chasing all this shit that honestly meant nothing to me. But I was chasing it because that's what I was told was good. And the conversation with him was just, dude, that's not who you are. So stop it. Doesn't matter. If you want, if you're happy and you're satisfied with 50,000 in your bank or 50,000 a year and driving a truck, but you get all this free time with your family, if that's your happiness, then you take that. And I think that was the biggest thing from Uncaged was just find your happiness, whatever it is, however grand or how minuscule it is, and just hold on to that, work for that, and keep that.
No, man, that's huge. And that's something that we preach a lot inside of Uncaged is like understanding yourself, like understanding who you are and like what you want and how you want to accomplish it. So, and for those of you that are listening, like that's what this whole channel is all about. The journey to the top 1%. And how do we get there? It's by becoming 1% better daily. And ironically enough, if you start doing some of the statistics on like what the top 1% is, doesn't really take a whole lot, right? And a lot of that too, if we were going to argue this is like holistically, what does that look like? Uh, be the top 1% of people mentally. It doesn't take a whole lot to get there, which is arguably one of the most important things. But man, I'm excited to have you on, Derek, bro. Like you've been riding with us for a long time. You've had your ups, you've had your downs, but you are arguably a very concrete person. Like you have your beliefs, you have your thoughts, you have your opinions, you have your stance and outlook on life, and you don't waver from that. So I'm excited to get into this conversation and just chop it up with you. But why don't you tell the guys who you are and what you do, and let's get into it, bro.
Sure, man. Uh, Again, my name is Derek. I am a police officer, father, husband. Um, I've been in law enforcement since 2005. Uh, you know, I pride myself on my family, my wife, my son, and my home life. Um, I've been through a lot, and I've learned that it doesn't matter because a lot of the things that we go through, the outcome determines on your mind and how you handle them, right? And a lot of it is your fault, whether you want to believe it or not. So, yeah, I worked in law enforcement since 2005. I'm currently making a move to try and um, score a podium spot in the tactical games. I compete in like shooting, fitness competitions, and I'm trying to score a spot in the the championship spot. So it's held in October. So it's right in the middle of hunting season. So it's kind of like a torn thing, right? Because I love to hunt and I love to fish. So, but I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to make a sacrifice this year. I'm going to shoot for a podium spot in a regional event so I can qualify for nationals. So that's where I'm at, man.
That's fucking sick, man. And that obviously like ties into, what you were talking about, which was like one of your biggest takeaways, man. We do it, we all do it. I think at some point in our life, because there's like two sides of this conversation, right? Um, I see some people who are just fucking flat out lazy that want to make it seem like, oh, money can't buy happiness or money's the root of all evil. And like they really downplay like anything that takes hard work and dedication because they genuinely don't have it in them. And so they utilize like an excuse of like, oh, I don't want the fancy house and I don't want the nice cars and stuff. And then you have this other section of people, group of people that at some point they figure out what matters to them, right? Um, and I feel like those of us that are in that category, like we all go through it at some point where we get like we see the other people with the nice houses, the nice cars, the badass vacations, like all these like Instagrammable like content and stuff. And we get caught up in like, oh, that is what success means, or like that's what you're supposed to strive for. And then we like at some point we find what truly matters to us. And then you have the third group of people who want other people to think that of them, therefore they like sell their soul to acquire these things, right? Like some of the brokest motherfuckers I know have the multi-million-dollar house, have $1 million boat, have $250,000 fucking cars. Like some of the brokest and most miserable motherfuckers I know seem successful at everyone else. So there is that category. But then we go back to that middle category, which I think is you and I and a majority of the guys in Uncaged, where we have gotten caught up in the like keeping up with the Joneses like mindset or whatever. But at some point it clicks and then we start to truly understand. Now, I just got to preface this because there are some people, like even myself, like I fucking love cars. And I love like the dope vacations. And like I like entertaining. So like a big house does make sense. However, there is a fucking part of me. And I'm like looking at you and I clearly know your lifestyle and stuff. There is a part of me that would more than be ecstatic to wake up in the morning, walk out my fucking front door, butt ass naked, not see or hear anyone near me, just birds chirping and like sip my coffee on the fucking front porch with acreage as far as I can see, right? And nice and quiet and peaceful and all that. Right. So like people have to understand like what fucking matters. And obviously, zero, not the cars, not the big houses, not the small house and the big property. None of it all matters without my girls. So like, irregardless, that none of that is, a priority without them. So like, as you started to kind of go down this like let's call it a maturity journey, like because we all go through it. It's just different levels of maturity. You're a fucking cop. You're very mature in certain aspects of your life. But let's talk about this journey of like personal development. What has that been like for you to get to the point where like you are confident in your own skin, you're comfortable with what you're doing and the direction that your life is going? Like, what's that been like for you specifically?
You know, like we talked, I was trying my hardest to be something that I wasn't. And I found the more that I dug into that and the more that I was chasing $1 million months and being successful business owners and having 15 cars and the Lamborghinis and like the more I went down that, the more lost I became. And I didn't want to admit it. Um, I wanted to be like everyone else on that journey because the reality is I'm kind of recluse, right? I don't have a lot of friends. I never have, and I have that way for a reason. I don't trust people. as a whole. Um, I've just seen what people are when given when presented opportunity, right? They're good people until they're presented opportunity to be something else. And if it makes sense to them, they will. So during that journey, I just wanted to be a part of something. And it didn't matter what it was. I wanted to have that group, that clique, that whatever. So the more I chased that, the more I had people to talk about with. But the reality was, I'm watching all these people chase the same thing, and they're coming up like, "Oh man, I'm killing it. Oh man, I'm doing this," and then I see something a month later where it's like a screenshot, and they just made their first $1,000. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why are we here? Like, you're either working or you're not, and that's clear that you're not, because now it's been a year and a half, and you've just made your first 1,000 or your first 5,000 or whatever the hell it is. Well, good for you. You've moved the needle. So I just remember sitting in the living room, and I was watching some movie. I thought, oh, Secret Life of Walter Mitty. A guy worked in a mailroom or something, and all he had to do was give this guy his briefcase back, and he'd never done it. He was afraid of everything, didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything, and he starts going all around the world trying to find this guy. Well, in the meantime, he's experiencing things people would never experience in their life, but not because he's pushing himself to do them. He's just finding himself in this position because he stepped out of his comfort zone. I remember in the movie, the whole thing was about gratitude and being grateful. And I remember sitting there. I actually started crying in the living room with my wife and my son. I started crying, and I'm like, I just looked at my wife. I said, "I'm sorry," and she's like, "What?" I was like, "I'm sorry," and that's all I said. And I felt so terrible for pushing myself into something that I wasn't. And then when it clicked, like, hey, why is it every time I talk about just wanting to be here and having this little extra free time to spend with my family and a little extra money so my kid can experience the things that I want and a nice truck so I don't have to worry about, like, why is it when I talk about that, now I got a small mindset and I'm not worth what all these other people are putting their time and attention to. Like, I'm not. And I just remember being in one of the groups I was in, and it was like anytime that I talked about it, I was like the asshole outside outcast. Like, well, you're just not trying. You're just not trying hard enough. You're lazy. Like, what? What the fuck? But every time that I did those things, I was happy and I was comfortable. Like, literally being around a group of people here in my town at an outdoor concert on a Thursday night with my son. My son's dancing, my wife are dancing. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, dude, I never felt that warmth of a feeling and smile in probably 20 years. Almost started crying, standing in a group of people just because I'm looking around. Everybody's having such a good time. And I was just like, man, this is fucking amazing. And so chasing that, it's fine. If that's what you love and you truly love it, fine, go for it. Go for the Lamborghini. Go for the extra houses and all. And listen, don't get me wrong. I'm working at obtaining a house on a lake or on a beach somewhere. That's what I want, and I'm working hard to get there. And I'll get there, and I'll have it. But it's not because I'm and it's not because I just want this status quo, right? You should want it for your own reason, and I want it because I want a place for my son. I want a place for my wife to go. And then we have a lake house and they get to have fun. They get to do all these things, like, and that's kind of where my life has turned, right? It's more about what I can do for other people. And that's what makes me happy. And I've avoided that for so long. And now that I realize it, I continue to do so because that's where I find myself the happiest.
No, man, I love it. Speaking of Dr. B at the beginning of this, that's why, like, Uncaged, like, we ripped the Band-Aid off and went all in on it full time. And I mean, bro, it was fucking hard, dude. I mean, we went from, a multi-million-dollar a year business where, our personal income was like 800 grand a year to like 80 in 2 years. And so there was a huge lifestyle change. And the big piece of that was, and it's not that you use other people. I mean, You use other people, obviously. That's the circle of life. But not in a like what it is. It goes to the Zig Ziglar quote. You help enough people get what they want, and they will help you get what you want. And that's what I see. Like when I hear people like yourself talking, um, is it's not about. It never should be about these things to make other people want to be you or look at you differently or respect you. It's the like, that's why I make a joke, not a joke, but if you've gone through the 30-day challenge, we talk about getting very, very specific on what it is you want out of life. And the Rob Dyrdek quote, the more success or the more specific you can be about something, the more successful you'll be at it. So to kind of convolute this entire conversation, my future house that I want is $3.5 million. Now, the reason I say the number is because that's literally, it takes money to purchase homes, right? But that number is a combination of like what my wife genuinely wants, as well as the things that I want to be able to do with said home. So like when you talk about getting very specific on things, like we've had to research, okay, where's this house going to be? What are the average homes going for? Because like my wife wants to be on the ocean, like literally on the ocean, just like you want to be on the lake. Wife wants where sand and water meets, right? And I want certain parts of that home to be able to entertain specifically for the people that I care about in our lives, like the members in Uncaged and Unleashed and stuff like that. But then also in the future, like when my daughter grows up, I want to have the home that everyone wants to come to because, as you can imagine, I want to protect the environment that she's around. I want her to have enough space where she feels like she's doing her own thing, but also, to be able to protect the environment specifically. So that requires a large enough house with big enough rooms that she can be off doing her own thing and feel like she's doing her own thing. But then I have the comfort of knowing like she's safe. Anyways, so like there's things that go into it. And so like if I just walk around and be like, oh, I want a $3.5 million house, they'd be like, fuck you, bro. I'm like, dude, it has nothing to do with the money. If it was $200,000, I would fucking take that deal all day long. But being specific about what we want and the amenities that we want and stuff like that just is kind of the average of what that comes out to. But that gives me a goal to shoot for. And there's other things that come into it about being ethical and modest and moral about what you want, and also how you acquire it. But going back to the Dr. B thing, is Dr. B was like one of three mentors that within like a 3-month period told me basically the same fucking thing. Going back to the Zig Ziglar comment phrase about helping people, and they had said that they wished that they had started pouring into people sooner, because if they had, they would have gone further faster. And that was the light bulb that went off, where we just ripped the band-aid off and decided, how can we pour into more people sooner? Because these are guys are 20, 30 years my senior. Like I would rather learn the lesson now, and I would rather start building the foundation now than when they did. And so like for you, when I start to hear you talk about that, and I hear you also saying, that you are going to get this lake house. And like, I see this as not being that far off for you, but I also see this as like you're taking other people on this journey with you. Like the things that you're doing, like the ripple effect that it has on you having this goal, and I don't want to get caught up into too much, but like I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. Okay, you working hard to acquire this, maybe you pick up a couple of overtime shifts, and you picking up those overtime shifts, you might fucking literally save someone's goddamn life. Like the shit that like people are too ignorant to think about when other people set high standards for themselves. And again, going back to what you're saying, you're not lazy because you don't want fucking $1 million this and 6-figure car that. It's that you understand yourself, like I said, like some of those motherfuckers are the most depressed and anxious and miserable motherfuckers driving those Lamborghinis around because they're doing it for everyone else. Now, if you happen to want to buy a Lamborghini for yourself and you acquire it, then I'm stoked for you. But I'm not going to sit here and fucking clap and watch you burn yourself into a shell of a human just to acquire something that you think someone else is going to change their perspective on. So I see your goals. I don't see him as lazy. I just see him as a motherfucker that knows what he fucking wants and is going to do what he has to do to acquire it.
It's kind of where that was a hard place to get to. It was a hard place to get there. A lot. Here's the thing, man, with helping people. I think a lot of people want to help people. They have the right intention, right? They come off, hey, I want to help people. I want to be there, and I want everybody around me to succeed as well, right? And then they start this journey. But you have to make the decision, right? Especially in a business. Even if you set up a business, let's say you're setting a business and it's for helping people. Like, let's just say Uncaged. And again, this is not Uncaged, but I'm just using Uncaged as an example.
Yeah.
Start a men's group. I want to help people. I'm going to bring men together. All right, cool. There's going to come a time that you are going to have to make a decision. And this is rhetorical, you, not you. That you're either going to make the money or you're going to help the person. Because you're not going to be able to do both. You're going to go down this road and it's going to fork. All right, I'm going to help this person, right? But eventually you got to take care of you too. So there's a moral battle, right? And it's with helping people in any aspect, and no matter what you do in life, there's going to be a moral battle on what best suits you and what will benefit them. I have a hard time doing anything to benefit me, ever. It's a toxic trait, 100%. And people may argue that, but it's toxic because even as far as saying prayers, I'll never pray for myself. I've never once prayed for myself. Never once. I always feel guilty. I'll start and I'm like, I can't do this. Because I feel like if I'm taking that time and I have his ear for a moment, I'm missing out on what I could do for this other person over here that needs it. Yeah, I need it. Well, I'm going to be all right. And so I have to find that place where I start taking care of me, right? And I start thinking about me. And I'm telling you, this is probably a bigger struggle than anything I've ever had to deal with in my life. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's toxic. And it can lead to bad shit. Like I neglect myself at times for others, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with, I guess if you understand what the outcome's going to be and you understand, what's the worst that could happen and you're okay with whatever that worst is, then I guess you're doing okay, right? I don't know what has to happen or what change will come about that will set me in that other direction. I don't know that I want it. I'm okay serving. I'm okay doing what I can for everyone else. Like I think about often, what happens if I come in, let's just say I get what I want. And then in the midst of that, I earn a large amount of money, right? I often think about whose house can I pay off? Whose debt can I take care of for them? I don't think about what can I get for myself. It's never that way. And I don't want to sound like I'm fucking boasting because it's not that. It's just how my freaking brain works. And I can't ever stop it to take care of me. The good thing is having that family and having a wife now gives me people to take care of close to me, which then ultimately changes my surroundings in a good, positive way. So that's good. But it's crazy. Again, I think about it all the time. Like, what happens if I come into something and I'm doing fantastic? Who else is going to benefit from this? Who else can I bring along?
You know, it's really interesting, your perspective. And I'm not here to tell you that you're right or wrong. If anything I ever do with, that's what I love about Uncaged is so many different personalities and perspectives, and arguably someone like yourself has been through some fucking shit. And so it's going to change your fucking perspective, right? So like if anything, I never tell anyone right, wrong, indifferent. It's more of a challenge. Like I'll challenge the thoughts. Um, and again, I'm just one person, so I'm only one perspective, persona, myself. And but like for me, like as soon as you started talking, like I went back to this like the oxygen mask and the airplane analogy, like you got to take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. And I think that's like it's admirable where you come from. And my only thing is as long as you're truly like emotionally sound, and like you have these things that don't make you act out of character, because like I say that when people start acting out of character, I question their desperation. Like, where is the desperation coming from, right? Arguably to yourself, like, or per your, roles and responsibilities. Like, I would never murder someone, but I absolutely would kill someone if it came between, my wife and my daughter's life and theirs, right? Like, so that is a act out of character based on desperation. And the biggest time you see this, it comes down to finances, right? Like you see people that get desperate on finances, so they start acting out of character, like they start, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there, no one's going to notice. They start, maybe they change some of their morals and start doing, a career or job that they probably wouldn't normally do, whatever the case is. Um, and so as long as like, in my opinion, as long as like you have eliminated the opportunity for you to become desperate, therefore acting out of character, I think that you're safe, right? And I don't know what that looks like for you or someone else. Like, so for example, it's the when I get around other people like you guys in Uncaged, this is where I learn how truly like wealth is built. And now there's a difference between rich and wealth, right? And so like for me, I told Andrew Howergan this that I was making 800 grand a year. I had the six-figure cars. I had all the shit that arguably we wanted, the Instagram shit. But I had didn't understand what wealth really was. And it wasn't until I lost everything and I decided to build everything back the correct way. That's when I started getting insurances and securities and stuff like that. And like at $80,000, I was more comfortable than I was at 800 because I had taken proper steps to understanding what made someone wealthy, not just rich. And so like if you're in that headspace, I'm fine with it. Now the contrary to it is like, where does comfort produce excuses or excuses for comfort, right? And I know you and your backstory. So I have a little bit more of a bias. Like as I'm explaining this, I'm trying to kind of eliminate our history. When I say this for the people that are listening and stuff, it's as long as like you're genuinely making decisions based on ethical, moral, and like I would say collaborative conversations with your spouse. That's the difference, right? It's not because I'm not a David Goggins fan. Like I don't feel like you have to wake up and you're like, how can I make myself miserable today? I don't think that fucking makes you a man. Now, I think there's a lot of shit Goggins has done that you can't take from him, but I can't adopt this mindset that like you can't enjoy some of the finer things in life and still be a man, right? Um, so when you start breaking some of this stuff down, it all comes back to internal. And like I know, based on you and your life, and especially your fucking career, like you've had your own journey with like mental health, and like what that's acquired to. So like for someone like yourself, I'm a huge advocate on, bro, you got the things that check the boxes for you that make you wholesomely happy, if you want to give away every penny for the rest of your fucking life to charitable donations or contributions, I'm fucking all for it. My question though is, have we thought everything through? And obviously there's always the unknown, but like, are you good first, bro? Because the last thing I want is for us to be helping other people and then like you're stuck back in your depressive state or whatever the case is, back down a dark hole. And then we have to like, cause like that's the last motherfucking place I want any of my friends. It's that dark pit. Cause I've been there, you've been there, and we know how fucking scary it is, and we don't ever want to go back there. So what are we doing to rate our bad days, if you will? Like we're all gonna have bad days. You know, if we're assuming 10% of our days are bad days. That's 3 fucking days out of the month. So my goal is, if we know we can't get rid of these bad days, how can we make these bad days just a little bit better? And then a little bit better, right? We're recognizing the problems. We're turning like the bison, going through the storm. Like we're recognizing it faster. We're getting through it quicker. Like, what are the things that we're doing to protect this future version of yourself so you don't ever like, bro, all that shit's in the past. How do we focus on progressively growing that 1% better daily so we don't ever end up in that position again? What's your kind of thoughts on that?
So I, for multiple years, was in limbo there. Good, terrible. Good, terrible. And it seemed like the terrible days were more than the good days. And I did everything I could to hide it, but I couldn't, right? So we all have our moments, our moments that change that. Obviously mine was the day I almost took my own life. So I spent the next 2 years, well, up until now, so probably 5, 6 years, um, working on getting to a place, not so much where that never happens again, because I know there are certain things that people will go through that you can't ever break those chains. And I don't want to say that in a way where like you're stuck there forever. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are moments in life where it's going to come back. So you have to learn, all right, when it comes back, what do I do? So I already know November and December are the toughest times for me, right? Mentally. Those are when all 3 of the most tragic moments of my life have happened. So I know that those are the times that I'm most vulnerable. So I have to then look for gratitude the most during that time. But the problem is that I would find comfort at a very low level, right? So close to that darkness that it would take a change in my day to put me there. So it would take time and time again of finding myself back in that darkness and then really analyzing it once I was either in it or out of it. Like, what put me there? Why am I there? Well, how did I get there again? Okay. Well, they talk about it takes a larger amount of pain to remove you from your comfortable state. So once you're comfortable, it's dangerous, right? You're a dangerous spot. I'm comfortable. This is good. We're good here. This is a good place. And when you've lost it all or you're in this terrible place, you're just striving just to get back to that comfortable place. Wherever it is, you just want to get back there because I'm holding on to that. And then once you get there, you're like, oh, I'm back. This is good. We're good. We're comfortable. And what I was learning is that comfortable spot was not comfortable. It was more comfortable than the pure, treacherous, terrible fucking shit I was going through over here, but it wasn't comfortable.
Right.
It was just status quo. Like, I'm surviving here. This is baseline.
Yeah.
So finally, when I came to the realization that this is not comfortable, like there are no moments of happiness here. There are no moments of like sighs of relief. It was just, okay, I'm here. I'm not fucking down there. I don't want to go down there. I'm here. So once I realized that, I started working towards daily things like, dude, I'm in the gym every day. There may be one day a week I don't go, but that's rare. And people are like, well, that's not healthy. Well, you know what's not healthy is the alternative to that. I know
Right.
where I'll go.
Right. Hey, 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Finish that. I got to grab something real fast.
sure.
Good.
The reality is that you're comfortable isn't comfortable. You're comfortable is more comfortable than the tragedy that you're in. It's kind of like paying a bill, right? They're going to shut your power off. Shit, you're behind on your bills. They're going to shut your power off. You get the letter. What am I going to do? You start scrambling. You find the money instantly. All of a sudden, you've made things, changed things, sold things you did when you had to do. You paid your power bill. Now your power is good for 2 more weeks until the next bill's due. I'm fine. I'm fine. For those 2 weeks, if you're not hustling to get back on track, you're going to be in the same boat in a month, which is the same thing. I'm comfortable. I'm good. Boom, something happens. I'm back here. Fuck. I hate myself. I hate my life. Why am I here? All right, start working, building. It takes a month to get back into a good spot. I've tried torturing myself with stupid, just unrealistic physical torture to try to get through it, right? And it was a band aid. Yeah, I was torturing the shit out of myself, so I didn't think of it because I was fucking miserable. And I was creating more misery on top of it. So I think when it comes to something like that, you have to determine A, what is your comfort zone? What does your comfort zone look like? And is it truly comfortable? How terrible is this low spot that you're getting into? Is it terrible enough that you don't ever want to go back? Because the pain is got to be fucking terrible in order for you not for it to click that I don't ever want to go back there again. Because if it's painful, but there are things about it that are okay, then changing to get out of that probably will never happen. You'll continue that same cycle. You'll continue to get the, oh, it's okay, buddy. You'll continue to get those. So now I'm getting rewarded. I'm getting rewarded for going into depression and hating myself because all these other people come around me and they're coddling me. Oh man, they're giving me attention. Maybe I'm not getting at the comfortable level. It's just a dangerous place, man.
No, 100%. And obviously it's easier said than done, but we had this conversation with one of the guys on a roundtable call. Same thing. I can't, it was the month of May for him, but like back to back tragedies, month of May. And so like here he is. And like he was like, he admitted, he's like, bro, like I'm being a fucking asshole to my wife, like this stuff. And like that's when we had to have the hard conversation because like so like you have clinical depression, I guess you could say, like that's like something that is like a forever thing, and maybe it's curable, maybe it's not. That's not the conversation I'm here to have. But then you have things like what I've been through, which I don't know if this is like a scientific term or I just made it up, but it's like situational depression, right? Like a situation happens, forces you into this depressive state, and then it's like survivor mode from that. But the thing with these things is, and this is like why I like being in groups like this, is because we get to talk to each other in a different tonality and verbiage because it is men only. Um, but like the thing that I said to him is like, bro, it is now your responsibility knowing. I hate to say it, bro. Like I hate that you lost those people, but that is officially in the past. You have your present and your future ahead of you. And it becomes your responsibility to be aware of this like situational depression that comes up every year. And it is your responsibility to find a way to solve that, to overcome it, right? I'm not saying that we can't remember and respect and celebrate their life or whatever that like looks like, but that November and December comes every year. Like it's going to come. And like if we stay in this mindset of like, I've actually even caught myself on this on such an elementary level. Like I have traditionally told people like I hate flying. Had a bad experience flying once. Went, was on a plane. I've been on a plane more than I care to be, and like So I've been reminded, hey, bro, you don't like flying. Hey, bro, you don't like. So now it's become a part of my who I am, where like people talk, I just don't fucking like flying. And the more that I say that to myself, the more I don't like flying. Like I'm literally giving myself this like predetermined anxiety because I'm telling myself this is who I am. And there's some really fucking crazy phenomenons that like your brain does not know the difference between a strongly visualized scenario and real life, right? So if we go through this process where we put ourselves in such a strong emotional identity that like I hate November and December, you will hate November and December.
Yeah.
Like you are setting yourself up for failure there. And the idea is like, bro, you have so many November and Decembers left in you. So like to put yourself in a situation where you are going to force yourself to be miserable, we'll call it 10% of the year outside of every other scenario. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you put yourself in that cage? And so it's just like creation of like, how do we solve this problem and how do we find a way? Because arguably, in my true belief, it is our responsibility to overcome that stuff, right? Like it, because no one else is going to do it for you. No one else can do it for you. So it therefore, by like definitions, our responsibility. And so it's like, how do we do that? And one of the things you said earlier about like your comfort level at the lowest level, it brought something to my attention, considering your law enforcement, because it's mostly law enforcement and military that I hear this from, and it's stuck with me. And that's the piece that I use to like know thy enemy, like to start overcoming stuff like this is like when chaos ensues, we fall to our lowest level of training. So it's like if we know that like November and December are coming up and it's gonna be a mental motherfucking battle for us, how do I increase my lowest level of training in that area? So that when chaos ensues, as we know it fucking will, and I fall to my lowest level of training, that lowest level of training is I'm a bad motherfucker, actually. Therefore, like my bad days ain't as bad as they used to be, right? We're progressively growing. What's like hearing all that, and I'm sure some of that was like uncomfortable to hear. Like, how have you? Because you're not a fucking idiot, and you've been down the personal development road for a while. Like, how does some of that information sit with you, and like, how have you kind of seen some of that in your own life?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. Um, I think that's what helps me get through it a lot is I'm aware. I'm aware that a lot of those moments I'm in, those heavy times, they're brought on by myself, right? I'm I will say that I'm at fault for that, right? And it ties into what you just said, right? I know they're coming. And it's just like me in crowds. Okay. Um, my wife, in fact, for this flight, we're going to Dominican. We're going to spend a week in Dominican. And she's telling me it's going to be a 5 hour flight. So I get it. She goes, in a small capsule with a bunch of people. She goes, make sure you get, so I like, if I know I'm going to the city for something, or I'll take ashwagandha, right? It's a natural, but like I get baseline. I'm mellow. I'm not amped the fuck up, right? But it's the same thing. Like she's not only am I doing it, but she's doing it, right? Unintentionally. She's not trying to get me to believe that I don't do well around other people. Like I know in big crowds, I try to talk myself. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm good. We're good. It's not bad. I'm fine. That's good. We're good. But in reality, I'm sweating. I'm shaking. I'm like, why is this guy over here? What's he doing? What are these people doing? What are they
It's a
talking?
big like first responder and military thing. Like, never sit with your back, to like, yeah, I see it all the time. Anyways, go ahead.
So she does it too. And bless her heart, she's not trying to fucking
Oh, of
encourage
course. Yeah.
bullshit. But um, I think that's why I've overcome so much as I've learned that like a light bulb hit that a lot of it's my fault. and not at fault that I'm there or that those things happen to me, but it's my fault that I'm allowing myself and encouraging, like in a way, when you fall into those dark times, you've fueled that fire to get there unintentionally. And then when you're there, it's almost like a slight welcoming. You're sulking, you're looking for whatever the fuck it is. So sometimes I fall in there and then I have to think, all right, what did I do to get here? What was the contributing factors? How did I play a role in that? All right. And it's a constant analyzation. So I honestly, when you said it, there was no uncomfortable like moments for me. I'm 100% aware that I am like I am the only one in control here. As much as I feel it's out of my control, I know it's me.
No, it's one of the things I've been speaking on heavily as of late is like understanding yourself to that level when you get pulled either above baseline or below baseline. Like, oh fuck, that feels good. What is that? And how do I get more of it? But then also like um I call it upset. And upset could be, it could house so many different emotions and stuff like that, right? Anxiety, sadness, fear, whatever. But when your body or your brain starts to get upset about something, it's okay, this is uncomfortable for me. This is okay. This is outside of my homeostasis. What has caused it? What is that feeling? And how do I keep that from happening again? Like, especially if it's something that I can take into control, because if we start to look at like some of the stuff, it's like if you've ever like, popped off on your kid or your wife when you didn't want to because like you were stressed about work or maybe you were hungry or you were tired, right? It's like, hey, how did we get here? Because I now have acted out a character again. And what was that? And so for me, bro, I believe that they all stack up on top of each other if you're not careful, right? A little bit of anxiousness here, a little bit of stress here, a little bit of frustration or anger here, like all the way down to like road rage or anything of the sort, right? Like if we can start paying attention to the things that make us uncomfortable or or upsets us, what was it, how did we get here, and how do we solve that problem moving forward so that like there is a more of a compounding uh progress than regress in our day-to-day life. And so that's been something that I've been focused on a lot lately, both personally and professionally. And I said this the other day, our old gym that we used to go to, like I would drive a little bit further out of the way to pull into the parking lot because the soonest entry to me, like logistically, like the people that design the fucking parking lot are idiots, and like it would piss me off. Like you pull in and it's like you can't get where you want, or like traffic's backed up, so I'd just get fucking frustrated. And like I had to like simple stuff like that, or like I could literally just drive 30 seconds longer and not have to deal with those emotions. Like, what does that, in a compounding growth, like, what does that do by just simply letting that weight off my shoulders a little bit due to my future? And so it's like little stuff like that that I think have been important. And if you've got any tips or tricks like that, I think it would be really fucking good to end on. And just like, how are you starting to notice some of these things that are making you feel uncomfortable or putting you outside of that homeostasis? Like you said, like, hey, I don't like a bunch of crowds, this, that, whatever. Okay, cool. Now what, kind of situation.
Sure, we'll talk about the road rage, right? I get on the road and in my personal vehicle, I want to kill everybody on the road. Like everybody's wrong. I'm not wrong. Everybody else is wrong. I hate everyone. What are you doing? You're all retarded. Like this, that's me, right? 100%. And so finally one day I was just blowing my top. I'm in the truck and I'm sure everybody around me is like, this dude's losing his shit. And I'm like, I paused for a moment. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? So I'm like, all right, I need to take a breath. So then I realized that it's all caused by being anxious. You're anxious. You're trying to get somewhere or you're trying to achieve whatever you are quickly. But why does it have to be quickly?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has to be quickly because I would sit here and fuck off for however long until right before I'd leave, and then I'd go. And now I'm fucking racing the clock. So my race
Yep.
for the clock, I'm taking that out on all these other people on the road.
Mm-hmm. fucking
Well,
million percent.
so I would then start leaving, getting ready, doing everything early. Now I'm at work 40 minutes early every shift, 40 minutes. And people are like, why are you like this early? I'm like, I like to be early. Bullshit, because if I don't, I'm going to fucking kill somebody on the way over here. So I've learned that now here I am. I've analyzed why I am the way I am, what I'm doing. So, okay, we're going to figure this the fuck out and see if it works. Now, when I leave 30 minutes earlier, I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I got nowhere to be. I'm going to sit right here. Okay, well, and no matter if it took me an extra 30 minutes to get to work, I'm still early.
Mm-hmm.
So now I don't want to kill everybody on the road.
No.
Now, it doesn't always solve it. Like, I still, like, when I'm going somewhere, I still, all right, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck out of my way. But it's not nearly where I was at. Like, I was, so
No,
I think the biggest thing is just, like you said, analyze it, figure out why, what's causing it, break it down, and then take small steps in defeating it.
bro, that's all it is, man. And that's, obviously I'm not fucking perfect. But I've been going down this road for a long time. And really the last 2 years since we've like flipped our life literally on its head, like there's been so much room for, scarcity mindset, imposter syndrome, like you name it, all the buzzwords to like creep up. And I was like, no, motherfucker, like who the fuck am I to let anyone else or anything else like dictate my happiness, And so like for me, it's been a very serious battle, and that's even why in the 30-day challenge, like I break it all the way down to like I did the 30-day challenge with my wife, right? And bro, like we were literally driving somewhere like on a road trip, and we were going through the triggers day together. And like, dude, one of the most like real moments I've had with my wife is driving through fucking Central Florida, sun shining, driving through all these farms and multi-million-dollar farms and shit, just like a fun atmosphere, but being terrified that the fact that my wife is sitting next to me writing down my triggers in my trigger journal, right? Like, you know, it, but like for me, like as uncomfortable as that is, like, the value of like seeing this shit on paper that like and understanding like it's gonna be a journey and it's not gonna be solved overnight, but seeing that like there's this breath of fresh air and this weight lifted off of you, like that you can take back control of your life if you actually fucking want to, right? And so I think that's a beautiful thing, man. And I mean, if you have anything else to add to that, let me know. But one of the things that I do want to end on is asking you like, what can we do for you today to pay you back for the time that you spent here with us?
Just work on you, whatever it is. And if you're in a spot where you feel like you can't, reach out. I don't want anything in return. I'm here. I'll listen. I'll give you advice, probably shit you don't want to hear. You're probably gonna get mad at me by the end, but I mean, hey, I'd rather you be mad at me than taking it out on everybody else. So, but yeah, just that's how you do it. Just work on yourself.
I fucking love it, bro. Well, guys, if you're in Uncaged, Derek is one of us. He's in VIP, so obviously easy access there. If you're not Derek Depew, you can look him up. If you still have problems finding him, you can reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to connect you. If you're listening to this episode though, and you got something out of it, please like let us know. Either let Derek know, let myself know, leave us a comment. But information like this is definitely something that needs to get into more more people's lives, specifically because this is the shit that a lot of people don't talk about. It's a lot of the shit that people don't want to talk about. But that's why I like surrounding ourselves, with guys like Derek, and more specifically, to kind of bring back something that he had mentioned previously. So like he never wants to do anything for himself, right? Like this selfless approach. But when you start to surround yourself with other like-minded men, and you're surrounded by 200 guys that think the same way, inevitably someone's going to be pouring into you because no one wants to pour into themselves. So they're all pouring into each other. So, no, love you, Derek, dude. I appreciate you spending the time here with us. there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. But yeah, if you're listening to this, got something out of it, give us a like, give us a share, give us a comment, whatever it is, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.